Hi, guys. My name is Oliver, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case. We will visit Ireland, the country known as the Emerald Isle. Ireland is located in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. It is known for its stunning scenery, rich history, and friendly people. The country has a rich cultural heritage, and traditional music, dance, literature, and art form a large part of its identity. Overall, it is a vibrant and welcoming country with a unique culture and history, making it a popular destination for tourists and a great place to live. But in our story, the protagonist was not lucky enough to meet with friendliness, and the hospitality of her native country played a fatal role in her fate. On January 12, 2022, Ashling Murphy finished her schoolwork. She drove her red car off the grounds and into the parking lot near the shore of the Grand Canal in Tullamore County. She left the parking lot on foot wearing a dark blue sports jacket, dark blue leggings, a white t-shirt, a gray scarf, blue sneakers, and a pink wool cap with a brown pom-pom. She was wearing an engagement ring and a gold necklace with the name Ashley on it and a smartwatch with an activity tracker connected to her smartphone. On the path to the bridge, Ashley met a girl who was walking with a dog. The dog ran up to Ashley. She petted him, and they exchanged a few words with the dog's owner. Ashley was watching her health and liked to walk briskly in the fresh air. She had walked about 2 miles and was on her way back to the parking lot when, from behind, a strong hand grabbed her neck in a strangling motion and dragged her into a ditch. The canal bank in Cappincur, known as Fiona's Way, was popular with joggers and hikers. 2 female friends exercising by the canal witnessed the attack. They noticed a mountain bike in the hedge next to the towpath and heard a loud rustling in the ditch below it. Believing someone may have fallen off the bike, one of them shouted, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The second girl stepped off the sidewalk and peered over the hedge into the ditch. She noticed a man leaning over a woman and holding her by the throat. They saw the legs of the woman lying there, twitching vigorously like scissors. Fear and terror seized the girls. They screamed in the hope of frightening the man, but the screams did not frighten him. They only made him angry. He roared at them like a wild wolf. The girls roused themselves and hurried to get help. At Digby Bridge, they encountered 2 male cyclists and 2 waterway workers. The cyclists rode up to the scene of the attack and found the still body of a tortured girl in a ditch, her face covered with hair sticky with blood. One of the cyclists who discovered the girl's body called emergency services. 2 police officers arrived on the scene 10 minutes later. The boy indicated the girl's location in the ditch. The police unzipped her jacket and began attempts to resuscitate her, taking turns doing chest compressions. Paramedics arrived in conjunction with police officers and pulled Ashling Murphy, who was still alive, from the ditch and actively continued to resuscitate her. There were numerous open wounds on the right side of her neck. The aunt desperately tried to save the girl by attempting to use a defibrillator, but the monitor showed that she was no longer showing signs of life. The doctor stopped resuscitation efforts and covered her body with a blanket. A smartphone removed from her pocket showed the time as 4:15 in the afternoon. The GPS tracker handed over to police showed the exact geolocation and time of the incident. The recovered data revealed that she started walking at 2:51 p.m. and headed west along the bridge before continuing east along the canal towards Digby Bridge. She was last caught on CCTV at 2:55 p.m. After walking about 2 miles, she crossed Digby Bridge at 3:16 in the afternoon and then headed west back towards the parking lot. 5 minutes later, at 3:21 in the afternoon, her activity tracker recorded erratic fluctuations consistent with a violent attack. Her heart rate was rapidly decreasing. The last heartbeat was recorded at 3:31 p.m. The crime scene was cordoned off. The body of the murdered woman was taken for forensic examination. An investigation was launched into the brutal attack that took the life of a young woman. All possible specialized units were involved in the search for the perpetrator. CCTV footage was reviewed, and witnesses were interviewed. The victim was a young, 23-year-old elementary school teacher who did not return home after school. Ashling Murphy was born on July 6, 1998, in Blue Ball near Tullamore. Ashling Murphy was the youngest child of Raymond and Kathleen Murphy. She had a brother, Cathal, and a sister, Amy. She attended Tullamore Catholic High School for girls from 2011 to 2017. She then attended Mary Immaculate College in Limerick, graduating in October 2021 with a Bachelor of Education in Elementary Education. In March 2021, she started work at Durrow National School as a deputy teacher. She secured a permanent position at the school beginning in September 2021, where she taught first-grade students until the day of her death. Murphy's family was a talented one. Both parents played traditional Irish music. Ashling played the fiddle from childhood, began mastering the tin whistle, and performed around the country with a national orchestra. She also participated in traditional music festivals. At the time of her death, she and her partner, Ryan Casey, had been in a relationship for over 5 years and were planning to marry. Cathal Murphy arrived at the morgue and identified the dead, tortured girl as his sister, Ashling. State pathologist Dr. Sally Ann Collas determined that Murphy had been stabbed 11 times in the right side of her neck, which severed her carotid artery and jugular vein and damaged both sides of her vocal cords, rendering her unable to call for help. She died from acute blood loss caused by the severe injuries. As a result of an active search for the perpetrator, police apprehended a 40-year-old man within 2 hours of the incident based on descriptions given by eyewitnesses, but released him the next day and eliminated him from the investigation. The professionalism and observation of the investigators and the will of chance helped to quickly piece together the events of that day, fully assembling them like a jigsaw puzzle into a single picture. On January 13th, emergency services received a call about a stabbing. Police and paramedics who arrived at the call noticed 3 stab wounds in the abdomen of the victim, which were not fresh and did not bleed. There were also numerous scratches on the man's face and hands. The victim of the fight was Joseph Puska. Investigator Gardaí, during his interrogation at the hospital, considered him a potential victim of the incident. According to Joseph Puska, he was attacked by 2 men, stating that one of them threw him to the ground and held him down while the other stabbed him. He also claimed that the scratches on his face, head, and hands were caused by being dragged on the ground during the attack. However, Gardaí suggested that the scratches recorded on Puska's body as a result of the dragging were more consistent with scratches from dense briar thickets. By obtaining CCTV footage, it was possible to refute Puska's account of his movements on the day of the attack on the teacher. Suspecting a connection to the Murphy murder investigation, detectives contacted colleagues in Tullamore. A team of investigators, led by Gardaí, devised a plan to obtain a confession about the January 12th incident in Grand Canal. 2 detectives staged an interrogation of Joseph Puska, pretending to believe his story about being attacked by 2 men. Joseph Puska changed his testimony several times and was confused about time periods, so when questioned, he lost his alibi. With the help of a Slovakian interpreter, investigators said he had been identified by a witness, and CCTV cameras recorded him at the scene during the attack on teacher Ashling Murphy. Under pressure, Puska confessed to the crime. At the inquest, the admission that he slashed Murphy's neck revealed details of her death that had not yet been made public. Puska also admitted that he stabbed himself in the abdomen to throw the investigation off track. On January 18th, Puska was released from the hospital and immediately arrested. Gardaí took him to the police station, where his fingerprints, DNA, and blood samples were taken. Afterward, Puska was charged with the murder of Ashling Murphy. Ashling Murphy's crime on January 19th. He was publicly identified as 31-year-old Joseph Pusk in 2013. Pusk moved to Ireland with his wife and 2 children. Pusk and his wife initially lived in North Dublin before moving to Tullamore in 2015. They had 3 other children in Ireland. He was unemployed and receiving Social Security disability benefits. Neither he nor his wife could drive, and he usually traveled by cab, bus, or bicycle. Pusk had no previous convictions for violent crimes, although he had been involved in 2 other attacks on women, one in Prague and the other in the UK. As a minor, he was convicted of consensual intimacy with a girl under 15 in Slovakia. He did not know Ashling Murphy before the attack and had no known motive for the crime. Investigators also found that Joseph had become very active on dating apps in the weeks before the crime and had been in contact with 8 Irish women. Gardaí suggested that he may have attacked Ashling Murphy with intimate intentions and took her life after she fought back. On the day of Joseph's arrest, Ashling Murphy's funeral was held. Her funeral mass was held on January 18th, 2022, at St. Bridget's Church, County Offaly. Among those present were the President of Ireland, the Prime Minister, the Minister for Justice, and the Minister for Education. Ashley's former pupils from Darrow National School lined up in a guard of honor outside the church, each holding a picture of her and a red rose. Schools and colleges across the country observed a minute's silence in her memory at 11 a.m. Her sister, Amy, described Ashley as the light of our lives and the heart of the family. Her lover, Ryan Casey, said, "She was my soulmate. She is my soulmate. She will always be my soulmate. She is the greatest love of my life." Ashling Murphy was buried in the Lower Town Cemetery. Joseph Cannon's trial was scheduled for June 6, 2023. The trial was postponed because the prosecution needed additional time to respond to the defense's expert report. The trial began on October 17, 2023, before a jury of 9 men and 3 women, presided over by Mr. Justice Tony Hunt. At trial, Pushka pleaded not guilty to the murder of Ashling Murphy. During the trial, the jury heard evidence seized from CCTV and geolocation of Ashley and Pushka's movements on the fateful day. Court heard testimony from several eyewitnesses and was able to establish that Cannon confessed to the crime 2 days after Murphy's death. Forensic evidence was also heard in relation to DNA and fingerprints. The jury was told that Pushka's DNA matched DNA taken from the handlebars of a mountain bike found at the crime scene, while his fingerprints were found on the seat of the bike. In addition, Cannon's DNA matched 1 time out of 14,000 with male DNA found under Murphy's fingernails after she tried to fight off her killer. The prosecution argued that the evidence obtained against Cannon was more than enough to prove and convict. Joseph Cannon's defense argued that, in this case, he was an innocent victim who was stabbed 3 times by Ashley's attacker, and he was trying to protect her. Joseph presented to the court how an unknown man wearing a surgical mask stabbed him 3 times in the stomach before killing Ashley Murphy. He claimed he tried to help Murphy deal with her injuries, but then left the scene because he was too scared. He claimed he had no memory of confessing to the crime. The defense argued that Pushka confessed while under the influence of medication following surgery, a surgery that a medical expert testified could have influenced his confession. However, an expert pharmacologist, Professor Michael Ryan, refuted this claim, saying that it is impossible for someone to confess to a crime after a small amount of medication. In addition, Pushka has previously given several different accounts of the events of January 12th and has already admitted that he lied to Gardaí on several occasions, including when he claimed he was stabbed in a fight on November 9th. After a trial that lasted more than 3 weeks, the jury deliberated for only 2 hours before reaching a unanimous verdict of guilty for suspect Josep Pushka. The judge said he was pleased that the jury would not spend any more time considering the nonsense that Pushka put forward in his defense. He said there would be a day of reckoning for Joseph and said, "There is evil in this chamber. There is no doubt about it." The jury heard he stabbed Ashley Murphy several times in the neck, causing her to die from acute blood loss. Joseph Pushka, an immigrant from Slovakia, was sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after 12 years. Murphy's mother held up a photo of her daughter in court during the judge's comments. Murphy's friends and family applauded as the jury left the box. Speaking outside the court after the verdict was announced, Murphy's brother, Cathal, thanked the jury for their patience and fortitude throughout this incredibly difficult trial. He said his sister had been subjected to unfathomable abuse and stated, "The trial cannot bring back our dear Ashley and cannot heal our wounds. But we are relieved that this verdict does justice. It is simply imperative that this vicious monster never be able to harm another woman again." In June 2023, the Slovakian national's Cannon's wife, as well as 2 of his brothers and their wives, were arrested and charged with withholding information related to the Ashley Murphy investigation. All 5 were placed under arrest. In December 2023, their trials are scheduled to begin in April 2025. In January 2023, the Murphy family established the Ashley Murphy Memorial Fund to support traditional Irish arts, culture, and heritage for young people. Immaculate College and the Irish National Teachers Organization have jointly established the Ashley Murphy Memorial Entrance Scholarship Award annually to a first undergraduate student who demonstrates exceptional achievement and talent in the field of traditional Irish music. Comhalla's scholar Erin established 3 scholarships in her memory, one to support artists working in the traditional arts, one to support music education for young people, and one to support research into Irish traditional arts. People across Ireland have expressed shock and sadness at the death of teacher Ashling Murphy. The President of Ireland expressed his deep sympathy, grief, and sense of loss, and paid tribute to her short but brilliant and generous life. The crime has intensified the debate about the safety of Irish women, many of whom have shared their experiences of gender-based violence not only on social media but also at ongoing meetings. At one of Ashley's memorial rallies, a female officer involved in the search for the perpetrator read a victim impact statement from Ashling Murphy's mother, Kathleen Murphy, which read, "As a parent, you want your child to enter this world and live a full and meaningful life, while being acutely aware of how fragile their safety is. Wanting to protect them, I failed to protect my darling Ashling, and now she is gone forever." The statement called Cannon an evil monster and said he should never see the light of day again. Ashling Murphy's fiancé, Ryan Casey, has recalled how they met at a local disto at the age of 15. He described how they planned to get married, build a house together, and start a family. Turning to Cannon, he said, "Because of you, I lost my Ashling. I lost everything I ever wanted in life. I will never marry my soulmate again and see her smile." He also told Pushka, "You smirked, you smiled, and you showed no remorse throughout this whole trial. That makes you the epitome of pure evil. You will never hurt a woman again." Amazingly, in this story, the bestial cruelty displayed rallied an entire nation and drew a line in the treatment of women based on gender. What can we learn from the Irish after this story? Most likely, their solidarity response to the national catastrophe that is any femicide, the participation in the movement against femicide of the highest level politicians and the most prominent cultural figures, and the concern of the common man because anyone can become a victim, and it is in everyone's interest not to let it happen. Thanks for watching, guys. That was Oliver with you. Subscribe to the channel. There are many shocking stories ahead.